feel like the video is super laggy on my end, so I'm really hoping it's not going to be laggy on your end. Welcome to Live with Heidi Mine. I'm going to check that the live is up on Facebook and YouTube. So everybody go grab your favorite drink before we get started. I forgot to charge my iPad, but I'm at 35%, so I should be okay. Let me move this around. That's not one. There we go. Facebook caught me fast tonight. There I am. Okay. And I am up on YouTube. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay. I've got volume. Yay. Subscribe and save. I'm going to put the YouTube link real quick before I get started. I had some serious problems with my website this last week. Oh, it was not fun. I had a bunch of like extra code on my site. Um, but thankfully I have someone that does tech support. So that's big. That like yeah. Because basically I think what I would have had to have done is just like I don't know what they call it now. We used to call it the go back machine or the wayback machine, something like that, or computers used to call it that. And basically to whatever your last saved um whatchamacallit, the last time you saved like your website. Um yeah. So it took the guy a while to get back to me about my website, and I was like, if it's too hard, if it's too much, if there's too much crazy going on, like we could just like go back to the last update before it was starting to go crazy. But then I wasn't really happy about that because I actually had created like a bunch of listings between the time of the last update where it wasn't wonky and before the new update when it was wonky, and I would have lost all of that. He was able to fix it, so I was happy about that. So now I can start working on listings again. Yay! What's up, homies? I'm Heidi. I'm a work at home handmade business owner at HeidiMind.com, as well as a homeschool mom of 12 and 14-year-old girls. I go live on Facebook and YouTube on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific. During the live, I share about things going on with my business, homeschooling, and our personal lives. Be sure to follow on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube to get notifications when I post videos or go live. And feel free to like or hit the thumbs up button, as this helps more people just like you see the videos and come hang out. If you are joining me live tonight, please comment with hashtag live. Or if you are watching the replay, you can comment with hashtag replay. This lets me know when people are watching and if I need to change up my times or my days. And if you are not already subscribed, be sure to check the pinned link to sign up for the email list for updates about new products, blog posts, and other fun things going on. I did not do a full-on script this week, but I did do, my chair is getting all rolly. I did do some bullet points. Uh, I think I talked about this. My chair is gonna go wonky. With my chair, I my whole room is a sewing room, and very often threads end up on the floor, like little pieces of thread, and they stubbornly get caught in the wheels of the chair. And in one of the sewing groups I'm in, somebody recommended putting rollerblade wheels on my chair because it doesn't get the threads stuck. It's not like the dual wheel thing. So I did that, and I don't get threads stuck in the chair. I also haven't been sewing as much. Um, but the wheels are super, super kind of like slick. Like I sit down and everything kind of moves. But also, I'm in the garage, and I don't know if it's just my garage or if it's all garages or I don't know, but I feel my garage is slanted. Like where I'm sitting, it's slightly slanted because this right here is, you can see like this is faux. It's like a photo backdrop, and then you can see back where there's sheetrock. This is actually my big garage door where a car would go through. Um, but my house was built in like the mid 1950s, and it's just not it's not big enough. I think when we bought the house, I can't remember if I had a Ford Explorer. I feel like I had a Ford Explorer when we bought the house, but I don't think that's right. I think I had I think I had my Dodge Caliber, pretty sure. But basically, when we bought the house, we tried, well, first we had just had like everything that we owned was in here, and then we emptied it and like we tried to put a car in here, and it just wasn't really big enough. You could put a car, but you couldn't put anything else, which defeats the purpose of a garage. And the driveway is not big enough to have a car parked in the driveway and a car that could get in and out of the garage. So we just always we sealed it off right away. Like it's bolted closed and padlocked on the front, and like and now it's been shocked over. So it's a whole thing. But the garage is slightly slanted, and so sometimes when I sit in the chair and I'm trying to position myself at the computer desk, I will go sliding towards the door because that is the down part. Fun thing. So, anyways, it is the first Wednesday of the month, and according to my handy dandy notebook, planner, whatever we're going to call it, uh, tonight is going to be about goals and updates. And then I do have like a little thing I want to talk about if there's time and if I'm filling up to it. I did not feel like putting pigtails in. They're kind of like a little pigtaily, a little, but not really. I just wasn't feeling it, and I don't know. I'm kind of over this hair right now. It is getting longer, so that's good. Uh, I don't think I'm ever gonna let it grow out as long as it was, but it needs to be a little longer so I can put it in pigtails better. Because I do love the pigtails. That's my jam. It's my thing. So tonight, goals and updates. I didn't do a full script. I just did some bullet points. And the first thing on my goals and updates is that I started school this week. Um, I don't know. I I'm mixed feelings on the whole thing of it. I I don't know. The first class that they have you take. So I'm doing an online college. It is University of Arizona Global Campus. So they are set up to be online specifically. And you can get a real degree. It's not like this hokey weird thing. Um, so but like the first few courses that they take are kind of like I think that they're geared towards preparing you to be doing school. Maybe if you've taken like a break from school like I have, there's a big gap. Um, so right now it's a lot about like setting goals. It's goal setting, ironically. And you really have to kind of call yourself out on things like what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, um, what are your opportunities, what are your, I forget what they said, like risks or something like that. So that's what the class is about. And you have assignments and you have discussions with the other students. And there's a certain amount of like interaction that you have to have. And honestly, it's not something that's new to me. I've done something very similar like this, not only for my business, but personally at the beginning of the year. I bought a planner that I also purchased like their course, and they talked a lot about this. And one of the things that that teacher had said was when you start to feel like resistance, when you feel yourself in an uncomfortable place trying to answer a question, that means that you really have to like dive deeper into the question and why it's making you feel uncomfortable. And it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But then, like, even reading, like, I'm trying to make everything sound very professional. That's what I do. I've worked in professional jobs, and I feel like when you are putting something out into the world, you should appear professional, especially in your writing. And then I'm reading other people's responses, and it's like everywhere. It's like they're just speaking. So then I think I'm overthinking it. So it is what it is. Well, I'll figure it out. Hopefully by the time I actually have to do like a class where I really need to sound professional and have good grammar and spelling and all of the things that I actually do. Um, they do offer free, they offer free Microsoft, which I am not a fan of Microsoft. I'm a Google girl. Um, so that's they're essentially the same, but they're not. I don't like Microsoft. I don't like Word. I don't like Excel. I don't like any of those things. But I can function with them and it's fine. I hate Outlook. Like you don't even know how much I hate Outlook, and I have to use that. So growth. Hashtag growth. Um, yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. I got my first three assignments done. Like, apparently, you get access to the classes are 5 weeks at a time, and you get access to your class like the Thursday or Friday before the class starts. So I had access to this class Thursday or Friday last week. I was able to get two or three assignments done before the end of the weekend. And they have like this really strange way of doing attendance. There's no actual like live classes. That's a whole nother thing. Um, so you have to submit your homework on certain days and that counts as attendance. And so I just have to make sure that I'm like logging in on those days and submitting something. But the idea is for me to get ahead because we have another update. Our back to school meeting is tomorrow for my kids for homeschooling because another update, they start school on Monday. So I figure if I'm a little bit ahead, then it gives me some wiggle room with the kids. Um, so yeah, today I did not anticipate it being as busy as it was, but I felt like I was never able to leave my computer. I was getting tons of emails from my advisor, from one of the kids' on-site teachers. Um, I am a moderator for our Facebook group for the school, so I was posting there to try to remind people to sign up for different things. I felt all over the place. Um, I don't see that Sarah has checked in yet. She's probably just as overwhelmed as I am right now, maybe a little more so. And yeah, I uh, our kids can sign up to do certain testing at the same time. So I try to do that when possible because then I get to hang out with Sarah. Don't forget, if you ever are looking for any kind of homeschool curriculum, um, tips, tricks, absolutely amazing ideas, do check out Home with Sarah Jane. She's amazing in real life and online. um, but when possible, we do try to schedule things so that we are together. Our kids get along very well. Our youngest daughters are the same age grade, and that way, if the kids are doing something for school, she and I can just hang out and, be friends in real life. Um, so I had every intention of, I saw her name on the list for testing on Monday, and I was like, oh, we'll do Monday. And I forgot that we recently signed up my oldest for martial arts, and that starts on Monday during the testing time. So I'm super bummed that I will probably, well, I will see Sarah one day, because one day next week in person, that I can give her a great big hug, because our older daughters have a class together. They're a year apart, but they have a class together, and we have to do like a parent meeting on Wednesday, so I get to see her in person. So I'm super excited about that. Um, but this year is going to be hard for us to connect in person. So I'm going to do everything I can to be available. And I know she does. She definitely, she's got so many things going on. So um, she's amazing. On Saturday, I will be attending a high school reunion. It's for my high school, but not necessarily my class. Um, I'm saying a lot. I'm going to try to stop that. Last year, I have friends. I have friends that are 1 year and 2 years older than I am. I have a few friends that were the year after myself, and then 2 years after, because that was my brother's high school grade. But mostly it was when I was a freshman, I made a lot of friends that were sophomores and juniors, and we stayed friends for a very long time. So last year, one of my friends who graduated in 1994 asked me if I would go to his 30-year reunion with him and his wife, because his wife is a little bit younger and she doesn't really know anyone. She'd go to our high school, and that way she would know someone. And I was like, yeah, totally on board. No problem. Well, when they announced their reunion for the class of 94, they actually invited the class of 93 and the class of 95, just so that they could get like a good amount of people to attend. It's local to me. Like, the place is literally within walking distance of my house. So, and it was only $25. You can't beat that for $25. So I was just like, heck yeah, I'm going. And then sort of, I feel like I bullied one of my friends into going, but she insists that I did not, that I just happily encouraged her to go. And so we're going to run with that. But I'm super excited about seeing a bunch of friends that I haven't seen in a very long time outside of on the internet. Uh, there is supposed to be, I think they're gonna have Mexican food, so I'm totally down for that. They talked about axe throwing. I'm not sure anybody wants to see me throw an axe. It's probably not like the safest thing. Um, they said something about possibly karaoke. That's not my wheelhouse. But as long as they have a dance floor and some good music from the 90s, I'm all for it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to people. I'm gonna use that as an action word. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see people that I haven't seen in a long time. I'm not sure if the people that I graduated with will do a reunion next year for our 30th. We skipped the 21. So I figure if this is the only one I get as a 30th reunion, I'll be happy with that. I'm fine. It's all good. Happy, happy, joy, joy. That's how I'm going to roll. And then we have some August goals. The first thing on my August goals list is to get the house in order. I know that I've shared a little bit that we've been working on different rooms in the house, and we have made a lot of progress with the different things. So we're just going to continue on with that progress and keep things moving, and life will be happy. I really wanted to work on my sewing room today. I actually was going to try to work on this mess over here. And then all the emails started coming in and it just wasn't happening. But yeah, it this weekend, I think I'm going to work on this room a little bit. Another goal is to do more cooking and baking for fun. I have had a few things on my list of want to try in the kitchen for a while. One of them is sourdough starter, and everybody seems to have an opinion about sourdough starter. And they all have these tips and tricks and things that they want to tell me. And I'm very much the kind of person that I like to try it and fail a few times. Also, because everybody has a different kitchen. My mom's kitchen in Alameda and my dad's kitchen in Arizona are completely different than my kitchen in Brentwood. So the temperature is different, the just everything, the humidity, all of it. So I found a couple of recipes. I think I've talked about it before. I don't know if I've ever shown it on the channel. I bought a little kit. It's like a glass jar and it has a metal lid, but it also has, I'm assuming it's some kind of a cheesecloth, but it's like a cotton lid. And it's got different, like a temperature sensor and like a little marker that you move up and down, but it's for making your sourdough starter. And they give you a recipe, and their recipe called for whole wheat flour and then water and whatever else. And it didn't call for yeast. And somewhere in my brain, I remembered seeing a recipe for sourdough starter that you had to add yeast. And everyone I've talked to so far, knock on wood, that's not everyone on the planet, it's about 5 people that I've talked to. They've all told me that you do not add yeast to your starter. And they've been giving me all these different tips about, like, you can't use water, you can't use certain water, you shouldn't use bleached flour, this, that, the other. The recipes that I've seen talk nothing about water other than just use tap water, and they talk nothing about flour other than this one said wheat flour. So I bought some unbleached wheat flour, and I think it's wheat bread flour, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to try that one. But I also found a recipe for sourdough starter in my handy dandy cookbook that I have had for 20 plus years. The Better Homes and Garden. I love that cookbook. We use it for tons of stuff. It has one of the best stroganoff recipes ever in it. It's my favorite. I use it for everything. And that recipe says that you need to put yeast in your starter. So I am going to practice 2 starters, and I will record uh, starting the starters. And I'll also do, I think it's like 5 to 10 days that it takes for it to set up. So I'll be doing like a little blurb each day. I don't know that I'm going to post them individually on my channel. I think I'll just record them and set them up as one video, but you never know. Maybe I'll just set them up as little short videos. I do really, really bad though with YouTube shorts because it's 60 seconds and mine are either always too long or they don't make any sense. So we'll see. So I'm going to do that. I also have I want to make homemade croissants or learn how, homemade bagels. So those are just a few things. And I know that the bagels, I can use the starter to make the bagels. So there's a whole lot that goes into those, but definitely one of my goals is to do more cooking and baking for fun, and especially to put that on my channel. So hopefully we will be looking forward to that. I also want to, well, one of my goals is to get back on track with my YouTube channel, with the cooking videos, the cleaning videos. I know I talked about sewing videos coming in September, so I need to start recording those now so that I have that content. And then nails. Nails are horrible. Haven't done my nails since Samantha graduated 8th grade in May. I probably will do them tomorrow, and that way they look all pretty for the reunion on Saturday. I want to get back on track with my weight loss journey. I know I've talked about this before. I just want to feel more comfortable. I want to feel more in control of myself. So I don't know if I'm going to share that step by step or if it'll just be something you see each week when I'm doing lives and different videos. It it'll just work itself out the way it needs to. Another goal that we just talked about yesterday, the kids and I, is decluttering, donating, and selling things that do not bring us joy. I wasn't a big Marie Kondo person that whole time. Like I knew who she was because because they talked about it on the Gilmore Girls Netflix thing. Does it bring you joy? Emily Gilmore cracks me up with that whole thing. I've never really followed too closely with that because she had this whole thing about like you should only own X amount of books. And I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. If you own books, you own as many books as you can get your hands on and put space in your house. I love books. I love books that I will only read once. I love books that I will pick up 20 times. However, with that said, over the years, my husband, who, as you may or may not know, passed away in 2022, did a lot of the decorating in our house. I know it sounds weird when I say it, but he picked the paint colors, hence the weird vampire faded burgundy. Our house is really dark. Our house is really dark. And it doesn't fit the vibe with the kids and I. So we know we want to paint the house. I don't think I show a lot of my kitchen, but in some of the Cook With Me videos, you can see my walls are this weird blue. When I first moved here, they were yellow, and it wasn't a yellow I was in love with, so we painted it blue because that was our compromise color. But I will be going back to a yellow, but it's going to be like a nice, bright, like citrusy yellow. And then in the dining room and the living room, the walls are brown. I don't know why we chose that. It just, I don't know. There was a lot. There was a lot. And our house looks like Disneyland threw up in it over the last 20 years. We have so many things from Disney, and they were wonderful at the time. And there are so many things that I love and that I will be keeping. But there are the only things we have on our walls are Disney posters and Haunted Mansion paraphernalia. And we have three toy monorails that are up on shelves. There's just a lot of stuff that it all it does is collect dust, and that doesn't bring me super much joy. The kids aren't in love with it. And when I started looking at prices for some of this stuff that people are asking on the internet for things that I own, I could do a lot with that money to improve like the living situation that we're in. So that's what we're doing. I yeah, I there are things that I won't be able to part with, but the kids and I did talk about we're going to start in the dining room and we're going to start taking things down, cleaning them up, and deciding if it's something that's a keep. We will either pack it up and put it away, we'll find a new home for it in the house, or if it's something we're going to get rid of, I will get it immediately put onto a selling website and try to recoup some costs. Yeah, I have at least 20 years worth of Disneyland maps, and I don't just have like one copy of each trip we took. I have stacks of copies of each trip. We every day we would go to the park. So in the beginning we would go for like 4 or 5 days, and we would grab 3 or 4 maps at a time with the idea that we were going to bring them home, knowing some of them would get damaged or wrinkled or wouldn't make it home. So we assumed we'd have 2 or 3 by the time we got there that were in good condition. I have ridiculous amounts of Disneyland maps that are in perfect condition. They haven't been opened since I brought them home. I also have uh, Disneyland in the, it must have been the mid 2000s. How do we say that even? Uh, Sometime around 2005 to 2008, I want to say. My nephew was born and he was little. They Disney did something called Virtual Magic Kingdom, VMK. And it was a video game, but also you could play games at the park and they would give you challenges and you would get these little cards, like playing cards, and you could put in the code and you get that item in your online world, but then you had like the little playing card in person. And I think I have like a wristband, like one of those rubber bracelets. That's when the rubber bracelets were like a fairly new thing. But yeah, they give you these quests that looked like Disney maps, and you would go and do the quest, and then you'd come back and you'd give it to the person, and if you didn't know the answer, they'd usually help you figure it out, and then they'd give you the card. I have a ton of those. A ton. I have a ton of VMK cards that you can't even. They took down the site, so you don't have that anymore. But it is what it is. But I figure some people might want to buy those, and if I have extras, I'm gonna sell them. So that's a goal. Uh, and the last thing that I kind of want to circle back to a little bit with regards to like going to school again. And it's not really a goal. I guess it's kind of an update. Maybe, I don't know. But it's what I'm going to end with, like in the next few minutes, is that I'm actually a fairly private person, which seems so strange to say that out loud as I'm doing a YouTube live, because if I was watching someone doing a YouTube live, I would assume that for the most part, they aren't all that private. Everybody has some level of privacy, but I I like having control over what information that I share and what information I don't share. You don't know everything about me, and you don't want to know everything about me. You want smiley, happy Heidi that's a little bit of a hot mess, that likes pink hair and pigtails and Barbie and says really dumb stuff online. And that's who I want to be for you. And that's it's fine. One of the things that I have noticed doing this school course that I'm doing is that the school really, they put this big emphasis on you're not alone. We want you to make these connections. They want, I haven't reached the point in the class yet, but eventually they want me to join different discussion boards and groups of people that I have things in common with, to make connections. They want us to make friends. They want us to be friendly. And that is actually a really big, weird red flag for me. I don't know why. I want to blame it on being a latchkey Gen X kid that, you know, we did a lot of raising ourselves. We did a lot of at home by ourselves time, and you didn't answer the door to strangers, and you didn't tell people that mom and dad weren't home, and you didn't do those things. You were private, you were quiet, you just stayed in your lane. And I don't know. And I feel like we had all this stranger danger when I was growing up, like in the 80s especially, and even into the 90s. We were told like, come up with these code words with your family if you ever have to send someone to pick you up. And I was like, code words? I'm gonna ask somebody if they have a code word, and if they tell me yes, I'm gonna know they're lying, because there's nobody that's gonna pick me up other than my parents or someone in our family. There's never gonna be someone in my life that's gonna pick me up that I don't know. I was the kind of kid you didn't put your name on your backpack or any other visible thing. Yes, I have keychains as an adult with my name on them, but I don't usually use them. I actually, strangely enough, if I have a keychain that has my name on it, it either goes up as a decoration in my sewing room or I will put my house key on it and that will be the key I give to someone else if they have to take care of my house. When my best friend lived a couple houses down and I needed to give him a key to my house, him and his wife, I, it said Heidi on it, which probably wouldn't have been good if somebody knew me and then found the key. But yeah, I don't do things that have my name on them. It just you don't do that. And on one hand, I have to remind myself that the people in these classrooms are paying to be there. So they're just not like strangers trying to get out there and get you. But some of their introductions came off a little bit. mm, I don't mind them coming off like a sales pitch. Like, this is professional me. I want to be hired for a job. That sort of feeling. Some of them were coming off like a dating profile to me. And I don't know if I've talked about that much. I don't know if I would ever talk about dating on my YouTube channel. I don't know. I'm not in a place at this time. I'll say this. I'm not in a place at this time where I feel comfortable dating, but I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable meeting people online to date. And that comes from that childhood of latchkey, Gen X, don't open the door to strangers and don't tell the people on the phone that mom and dad aren't home. Like, I don't trust people on the internet. And I know that's an irony because I have two very good friends that I only met on the internet, and I would absolutely trust them with my information and my kids. But I also knew them for a while before I would have said that. At this point, I've known them for over 10 years and I met one of them in person. But I just have all this weirdness about there is very much a pushback and a resistance with the college telling me I need to make friends and join groups and be social, and this inner child that's screaming about red flags. So it's a thing. And honestly, it was one of the reasons that I quit college years and years ago. I don't do well with groups. I don't, it's so weird. I am like the poster child for extrovert. I will walk up to anyone and start a conversation. I'm loud. I'm annoyingly so. I, I don't get embarrassed generally. Not by many things. The kids test me. My dad used to try to embarrass me. What he used to do as a parent should have been embarrassing, but I was so desensitized to it, it wasn't. And in retrospect, I just think it was funny. And it wasn't anything like traumatizing. It wasn't completely bizarre. But I don't get embarrassed about things like that. I clearly don't have a problem talking to strangers because I'm talking to a camera right now, and whoever is watching on the internet now or anytime in the future, you are a stranger, most likely to me, and I'm talking to you. Happy joy joy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where the boundary lies for that. I don't know where the uncomfortableness come in to push me to stop in one place and keep going in another. I don't understand it. I just know that I don't want to make online friends at the college because I think a lot of it is I don't want online friends. I don't, and I don't mean that in like, oh, I don't want to make any online friends ever. I like I like in-person things. I think that if the pandemic taught me anything about myself, it's that I'm a hugger. I'm a Labrador retriever. I will be completely honest about that. If if I get too excited around my friends, I will get close to licking their faces. Like I've never licked a face yet. Uh, Yeah, but it probably isn't like outside of my realm of things I would do because I like people. I like my people. I like my people. So it's a weird gray area for me, and I am trying to balance it. And I think one of the groups you can also join like the Greek fraternities and sorority. I mean, I can't join a fraternity. I I mean, I guess I could now. Like nowadays you could be whatever, but I could join a fraternity, sorority, whatever. And I kept thinking, "Oh, well, I can tell my friend that moved to Tennessee I could finally join her sorority because I'm back in college." Although she told me I could have joined not being in college also. But I don't want to be in a sorority. I'm a grown adult. And that's what I keep coming back to. I'm a grown adult. I'm not in a place where I'm not in a place where I need help making friends necessarily. And the connections that I make online, I don't see the value. So if you see a value in it and you want to leave me a comment and reinforce what the college is saying, I I applaud you. I will read that comment and I will embrace that and try to let that help bring down some of the red flags. But ultimately, I just, I don't know. The first few days, it was only there were a lot of men that were coming in and commenting, or putting in their introductions and then commenting, and that's fine. I have no problem talking to men. I just I don't know. I'm in this, I think, and I will fully accept that some of it's just me, that maybe I'm in a weird place that I feel like because I'm not married, that if I speak to men, they think that I'm trying to flirt with them or that I'm attracted to them. And I I am absolutely the kind of person that can just be friends with men and women and not I can be friends with people that I'm attracted to and not act all weird about that because I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I think my brain's shutting off now because we're almost at 45 minutes. Um, so I just think that, yeah, I don't necessarily want people to think that I'm interested in them in a way that I'm not. And that's hard to do online. It's hard to just define to people, I'm only going to be your friend because the college is making me make friends. And if we end up being friends after that, it's cool. And if we don't, I'm also cool. I have I actually have plenty of real life friends. I'm yeah. And I'm the kind of weirdo that if you're a bestie of mine, you're stuck forever. I I still talk to people that I was friends with in kindergarten. And I moved every 2 years growing up until I got to high school. So I went to a lot of different schools. We moved different cities within California, mostly Bay Area and Northern California. But I lived in San Jose, went to kindergarten, and I had a couple of friends there. One friend in San Jose and one in Santa Clara because I actually went, we moved in the middle of my kindergarten year. So I went to two kindergarten schools. Uh, and I still am friends with and speak to both of those two women, not on a super regular basis. Sometimes we just comment on each other's photos or whatever. But like, how weird is that to we grew up in this, we were born into a world that the internet did not exist. And the internet really didn't become a thing until we were adults and we were able to somehow reconnect through these systems and all of these years and miles and whatever. And Yeah. And I hang on to those people. I collect them. I still talk to a couple of girls, the women that I went to junior high with, and they were like, yeah, they were very big in a very crazy part of my teen years, and we're very much still friends. And I to them, one of them I speak to at least monthly. The other one, she's not online as much, so I kind of check in with her, as needed. But yeah, I will hang on to my people as long as possible, um, because I like my people. So, anyways, that's the goals and updates. And at the end of the month, I will go over what my goals were and if I stuck to them, accomplished them, what the status is. I forget what I'm going to talk about next week. I don't know if I wrote it down. I will check real quick to see if I wrote it down because I was trying to write them down so that I would have ideas. Oh, next week I'm going to talk about back to school. Shocking. The kids are back to school on Monday. They will be doing more in-person classes. We're still homeschooling. I'm still their primary educator, but they will be taking in-person classes a couple of days a week. And essentially the teacher on site will assign them work, and then I'm the one that actually like works with them. So it's going to free me up because I don't have to do all the curriculum stuff because curriculum takes forever. Like I said, go check out my friend Sarah at Home with Sarah Jane because she goes over curriculum. She is a curriculum boss. She is homeschool mom goals. I'm just saying. But I will talk a little bit about back to school, about our first week, like with the kids. They won't be in person next week. However, I have been informed today that they will be getting assignments. So I will be working with them next week on their assignments, getting them into the groove. And if I have any back to school things that I'm able to make in the next week, I will show you those first next Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like or a thumbs up, follow or subscribe, and comment with hashtag live or hashtag replay. All of these interactions not only help to push the videos out to more people that will enjoy them, they let me know what